Congratulations, everyone. You made it through another week. It's Friday. I'm not going to sing the Friday song, but it's good to have Friday, another Friday, isn't it? So let's jump right in. Our last emotion devotion, the last emotion we're going to deal with in this section of these exposed devotionals. It's coming from Proverbs chapter 23, verse 17. Let's take a look. It says, "Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always be zealous for the fear of the Lord." This is a great one. Guys, today we are talking about envy or jealousy. You know, vocabulary.com helps us actually differentiate between these two English words. They're kind of really close in meaning, and sometimes we don't know how to distinguish them, and I liked how vocabulary.com broke it down. I'll read from it. Take a look. It says, envy is when you want what someone else has, but jealousy is when you're worried someone's trying to take what you have. Did you realize that's the actual distinction between those two words? If you want your neighbor's new convertible, you feel envy. If your neighbor takes your husband for a ride, you feel jealousy. Okay, I didn't write that. That's from vocabulary.com. But I actually thought that's pretty well stated, and it really gets the point across in the difference between jealousy and envy. But truthfully, as we're talking about emotion, it's probably the same emotion that we're experiencing in both situations. One just applies to what you have, and one applies to what you don't have, but same emotion. You know what? The Bible actually says that God is a jealous God in certain ways. So we know that there is a good form of jealousy, right? When you're protecting something that actually belongs to you, that's a good thing. We talk about certain covenant relationships in the Bible. God formed a covenant relationship with Israel, so he had certain expectations for them and their relationship. We do the same thing in our lives today. We have contracts and agreements. Marriage happens to be one of those contracts. A lot of people don't think of marriage as a contract until they go to try to get out of one, and then they quickly realize, oh, wow, this was a contract. But you know what? When you join in that contract, that covenant of marriage, you're basically saying we belong to each other. And so when one person does something that is outside of the bounds of marriage, right, you're breaking trust, and yeah, that creates legitimate jealousy. When people are dating or engaged, they often will still call it cheating when somebody kind of goes against what they've agreed to. It's not as severe, of course, but in all of these cases, there's a certain expectation that is communicated, so jealousy is merited. But very often, guys, we experience jealousy for bad reasons, right? Things that we have no right to, that are not committed to us. Very often, our jealousy is driven by selfish ambition. So, for example, someone who just outright outperforms you at work, and you just get jealous, right? Well, that's not a good emotion. They're just working hard, and maybe you're not working hard enough, or maybe they're just more gifted than you, and you have to suck that up and actually acknowledge the truth of the situation. But we can get jealous over something like that. It's not good. Here's one. What if somebody looks better than you? You're like, oh, that drives me crazy, right? Maybe they just look better than you. Oh, they just had a good day. Maybe you can use that to sort of appease your emotion. But sometimes jealousy comes up for those reasons. It's not a good reason. Maybe they just are better looking than you. Maybe they are just having a good day. But regardless, right, that emotion, that's not a good one. So it's often driven by selfish ambition, right, our own ego. James 3, verse 16 says, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice." Right? Once you give yourself over to jealousy and envy, James says that there will be no end to the destruction that can come into your life. Right? This is an opportunity for the devil to put down these roots of bitterness into our hearts and to really go deep and really destroy us. I've seen some people become just totally different people because envy and jealousy got into their hearts somewhere. Guys, these types of situations that we go through, that when people make us envious or jealous, right, they will really test where you get your self-worth from. This is what you see in these situations. You will really be able to drill down and say, oh, this is where my self-worth comes from. It really is coming from my looks. It really is coming from my performance. Or is it really just coming from the fact that you're a child of God and you're content with that? Well, let me ask you a few questions. Are you able to compliment someone who outperforms you? They just did a better job than you at work or in this thing, and you just say, great job, man. You killed it. Are you able to do that? Are you able to feel good for someone who maybe looks better than you? today, you go to work, they just look better and you're like, wow, you're really working. Not with that little, right? You know what I'm saying? Not with that little look. But honestly, just say, you're doing great. Keep it up. Are you able to, be in someone else's shadow and still feel good about yourself? That's a great question to ask. Because that's getting to the heart of the issue. Are you really comfortable in who you are before God? You're His child. You have a relationship with Him that is unique and special, irregardless of all the other things that are going on, all of the other things that you would like to be, or how you would like to be better. Are you content to be God's child? And know that He loves you. Again, this is the truth of the gospel, guys. You got to get back to what's real, that God loves you for who you are just because you're His child. Guys, this is really practical stuff. What I want you to do today is just pay attention to this emotion of envy and jealousy and see where it's coming up today and see if you can handle it better.